Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. We begin with breaking news out of the Zinc works near Hobart. There's been a serious workplace incident at the site. Our reporter Louise Hedger joins us live from Lutana. Good evening, Louise. The situation is still unfolding, but what do we know about what's happened there?
Joy, police say emergency services are on site here at the Near Star smelter at Lutana, responding to a hazardous materials incident. They arrived here at around 5 o'clock this afternoon, but we're still learning more about what has happened here. There's believed to be ambulances in the site, and we understand it does involve potentially dangerous gases. Police say injuries have been reported. But Joy, we're yet to hear how serious those injuries are and what exactly that incident is.
OK, thank you very much for that report. Louise Hedger joining us there. The government has faced a second day of intense scrutiny over the alleged escape of a violent Risdon prison inmate, which sparked a 2-day manhunt. But the opposition's interrogation has backfired, with the government demanding a Labor MP apologise over comments labelled in Parliament as creepy and disturbing.
Suburbs in lockdown for 2 days. The government facing a second day of questioning over how an inmate allegedly escaped Risdon prison.
Why was this dangerous and violent criminal in the minimum security Ron Barwick prison?
The individual concerned has been obviously taken back into custody without incident, has been reclassified as a maximum security prisoner.
Maximum now.
The investigation is underway.
But Labor's political attack backfired, facing the fallout from this comment from MP Shane Broad yesterday.
We have a minister who, if she put on a show in the prison, no doubt it'd be a sellout.
Speaking about Elise Archer, who in Parliament labelled it disturbing.
I'm not prepared to stand by and allow a comment like that to be made in this House. I think that every female in this House would probably react in the same way on reflection.
What I was referring to was a play on words, a pun, being sell out, being C-E-double-L, out.
Demanding an apology.
That is a play on words and was not meant to be offensive. But if that pun has also escaped the minister, then I will apologise.
That didn't sound like an unreserved apology.
Outside, colleagues jumped to his defence.
He's apologised, and that's where where it should finish. He's acknowledged he spoke poorly. He's apologised for it.
There are measures that we can take in Parliament to deal with matters such as these, but I would have thought a simple apology from Shane Broad would have been able to put this to bed.
It's unclear what action, if any, will be taken. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
And police are still searching for a 26-year-old man who escaped police custody on Monday. Braden William Stanley is wanted after walking out of the Burnie police station and failing to appear in court. The Irish town man is not considered dangerous or a threat to the public. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. The state's health system is failing Tasmanians, according to the Federal Labor Party. Shadow Minister for Health, Chris Bowen, touring the Launceston General Hospital today, calling on the government to do more.
The Tasmanian hospital system is groaning under the pressure. Right across Tasmania, hospitals are doing it tough, and it's a result of Liberal Party cuts both at the state and federal level.
But Liberal MP Bridget Archer says the health system is far from broken, with the government committed to making improvements.
I think there certainly are some challenges, and I think that some of those challenges are well understood. We made some commitments during the election campaign to some health initiatives that we hope will take some of the pressure off some of those areas.
The Federal Minister for Health, Greg Hunt, is expected to visit Tasmania before the end of the year. A Tasmanian wind farm is about to trial an Australian first project in an effort to prevent the deaths of endangered wedge-tailed eagles. The $300 million site has installed technology which halts the turbines when it recognises a flying object, with wildlife advocates welcoming the move as critical to ensure the species' survival.
In an area known for its stunning wilderness, Cattle Hill is also the site of a large-scale wind farm. There's 48 turbines being constructed here, set to generate renewable energy, but they also pose a deadly risk to critically endangered species.
You know, unfortunately, one of those turbines hitting an eagle, most of the time the result will be death very quickly.
Now, in an Australian first, identified technology designed especially to combat those deaths has been rolled out, ready for the next phase.
The installation is now complete and it's moving into the machine learning period.
The technology, designed in the United States, detects a bird flying from up to 2 kilometres away, identifying the species before its protective mechanism is triggered.
Calculate if there's a high risk of that bird hitting a turbine. If there is, then it sends a signal to the turbine to shut down to protect the bird.
Animal welfare advocates are welcoming any move to protect eagles, but are concerned about the unknowns.
Is there some way of testing this out prior and getting it to learn all this stuff prior to the wind turbines actually going?
A saving grace especially important, with new RTI data showing there's been 37 reported eagle deaths at wind farms since 2003. With an estimated 120 wedge-tailed eagle pairs in the state, the numbers are particularly concerning.
You know, if we're seeing someone get really proactive in trying to put the technology in first, then that's a really good thing.
Meanwhile, a turbine blade which was damaged last week while being transported to the site is being inspected to see if it can still be used. The company says that setback won't impede the project's progress, due for completion at the end of the year. Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
Welcome back. The Hobart rivulet could be turned into an underground commuter network, in a radical solution being explored by the local council to help battle the city's traffic problems. But the proposal to convert the system for pedestrians and cyclists faces some hurdles, including fears of flash flooding.
The Hobart rivulet weaves an underground path through the city, but this could become a portal to a new transport option. An alderman proposing to turn it into a path to help ease the traffic burden.
The Hobart rivulet runs underground across the city, underneath the mall, underneath the Cat and Fiddle arcade, and comes up here at the hospital. It's such a convenient route for pedestrians.
A motion coming before the council's infrastructure committee tonight to consider converting the tunnels for pedestrian and cyclist use. But there are problems with the project. Parts of the rivulet are used for storage under the Cat and Fiddle. There's issues with ventilation, and the rivulet is naturally prone to serious flooding.
If there was a predicted high rainfall, we would close the rivulet tunnel as well. And if there was ever unexpected high water levels detected upstream, obviously the tunnel would be evacuated.
I'd have to be convinced that it's worthwhile spending the money and time on bringing the rivulet path up to, or the rivulet drain, up to a standard that people would feel comfortable walking and riding in it.
The bicycle network is worried the cost of developing the underground area would outweigh the benefits, instead wanting investment into above-ground infrastructure.
While something like converting the rivulet to a path sounds great in principle, I'd have to be convinced that it was worth the money when we know that building on-road separated cycleways works.
It's a real opportunity to create something from scratch that's accessible for all users, so people who have mobility issues or have children.
If passed, the idea will go to the full council for consideration in a fortnight. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's unique knowledge of remote medicine could be harnessed in the nation's space race bid. A memorandum of understanding has been signed to see the state join international efforts to reach the moon and beyond.
Medicine on Mars. It's light years away, but Tasmania's expertise in Antarctica is putting our space hopes into orbit.
This is essentially the starting point of the space race for Tasmania.
Today, the state government, the Commonwealth and Australia's space agency signed an MOU, a move to hopefully boost the economy. Remote medicine used by the Antarctic Division will be a major focus.
We need to ensure humans are safe in space, and there is great research undertaken right here that we can draw on.
But we're also looking at the communications and the radio and optical telescope work that is done through Tasmania and has been done for some time.
Tasmania's signature follows similar memorandums with Western Australia, the ACT and New South Wales. It comes on the same week as Scott Morrison pledged $150 million to help NASA's next Mars mission. The Commonwealth wants to create an extra 20,000 space jobs by 2030.
Importantly, this is about opening doors for Tasmania to gain access to these new and emerging markets, which will mean jobs for Tasmanians.
But where exactly those jobs will come from, you'll have to watch this space. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
It's a concept that's changed people's lives for the better, allowing anyone, no matter what their ability, the chance to represent their country. And thanks to their determination, 2 Tasmanian cricketers are now preparing to do just that after impressing at the state's Inclusion Championships.
Launceston's Connor Shepherd and Justin Nealon are preparing for the opportunity of a lifetime, running out onto the field as Australian representatives.
Oh, I felt happy. I was jumping around, excited.
It feels absolutely amazing to have the honour.
After standout performances in the state's Inclusion Championships, the South Launceston Cricket Club players have since gone on to impress for Tasmania on the national stage, earning their spot at next week's INAS Global Games in Brisbane, the world's biggest sports event for athletes with an intellectual impairment.
It means the absolute world to not just for me to be selected, but now that there's a pathway for people with a disability.
Having much fun as possible and always trying your hardest.
The Aussies will compete in a series of matches against England, with Connor and Justin recently training the house down in the hopes of doing their state and country proud.
Hopefully come back as world champions. That'd be very nice, especially against the English, we'll say.
Tom Cooper, 7 Tasmania News.
A special art exhibition opened in Hobart today, proving age is no barrier when it comes to creativity. The Making Marks exhibition, showing over 100 pieces of art created by early childhood students across the state. Students worked with parents, educators and artists to show off their imagination and express how they see the world on paper.
They're very personal, so they're not telling us about what they see on television. They're telling us about what they love about life.
The exhibition is open until October and will travel to Burnie early next year. A Tasmanian scientist is about to embark on a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Antarctica after winning a competition to study there. Chloe Power will travel to the icy continent at the end of November to work alongside other young people who have travelled from other gateway cities.
And furthering each of our cities' connection with Antarctica and coming up with ways where we can provide our city with more of a connection with this beautiful icy continent.
So having someone that can talk to people about it and get them enthusiastic about it and make them ambassadors as well is super important.
Chloe hopes to become an Antarctic ambassador and share the knowledge learned during the expedition with others around Australia. Most parents tell their children to slow down when they're behind the wheel, but today Tasmanian students were trying to set new speed records. Teams from across the state competed in the F1 in Schools state final, vying for a spot in the Nationals.
If you blink, you could easily miss it. Small cars travelling at high speeds. It's been a year in the making for teams of high school students from Launceston and Hobart. Competing for the F1 in Schools state title, the students hope to go on to the National Championships in Melbourne.
I would absolutely love to get to the national finals again. It's a great experience. Something that would really be really cool is going to the World Finals.
The program aims to spark the interest of students into engineering, as well as arming them with more skills for future employment.
We've had teams in the past where students have actually now gone on and have done engineering degrees and working for multinational companies, working for the Defence Force in engineering programs.
Kids learn lots of real-life skills that employers are looking for. They learn to collaborate with each other. They learn about project management, design work, marketing.
Participants seem to agree.
It's given me a lot of life skills.
The teams are responsible for attracting sponsors and building the miniature Formula One cars for racing. The cars are made from balsa wood and powered by CO2. And if you've ever wondered what the secret is to making a car aerodynamic.
It's really to make sure that your design is in the shape of a teardrop and to make the finish of the car so the actual surface of the car as smooth as possible.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Let's take a look at the day's business and finance news now with thanks to Bank of Us, Tasmania's customer-owned bank. The Australian share market has fallen following an overnight sell-off on Wall Street as more political instability rocked the United States. The ASX 200 index fell 38.7 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 67.81 US cents and 61.66 euro cents.
Good evening. Temperatures around typical for this time of year. Hobart and Devonport 14, Launceston the warmest today with 18 degrees, Burnie 17. A light shower or two over the west, otherwise fine. Friendly Beaches 16, Low Head and Ooze 15 degrees. St Helens, Strawn and the Islands 14, Lyawini a top of 11. We did have low-level cloud moving over a good part of the state today due to onshore winds and some afternoon convection. More low-level cloud is also over central Australia and southern Queensland and even more over the southeast of the nation, but most of the country cloud-free. The high will be centred near northern New South Wales. Tomorrow a cold front heads towards Western Australia as a trough continues over Queensland. Westerly winds at first, shifting north-northwesterly at 10 to 20 knots, bit stronger over the west and up to 30 knots over southern waters. So we have a strong wind warning there. That's between Southeast Cape and Sandy Cape. The forecast for tomorrow, Hobart a cloudy day and 19 degrees. Cloudy also for Cygnet, 18 the top and 19 for New Norfolk. Launceston expecting a top of 18, early fog clearing to a sunny afternoon, 15 for Devonport, early fog for Campbelltown and 17 degrees. For Burnie, partly cloudy and 15 also for Strawn, a shower clearing later in the day and partly cloudy for Smithton. Eastern areas 18 for St Helens and Swansea, bit of cloud about, 19 for Fingal after early fog. Now on Friday, showers over the west and south extending across the state during the late morning, wind shifting south-southwesterly. On to Saturday, mainly fine apart from a shower over the west, and on Sunday, a cloudy day with showers over the west and south. Perth 22 tomorrow, sunny over Adelaide and 24, partly cloudy in Melbourne. Cloudy also for Canberra, Sydney a shower and 21 degrees, Brisbane showery as well. Here are the current conditions. All centres on 12. Jo, my Richmond supporting wife, is wanting a ticket to the grand final. I'm sure there's plenty of Geelong and Collingwood supporters with one. Ring me up and we'll make a deal.
Wish you could get you to stop wearing those ties. Thank you very much, Merv. That's all from the team for now. Thanks for your company. Have a lovely evening and we'll see you a little later with more updates.